you're going to reproduce the harvest of that thing that you've given your attention.
That's it. That's right. And look, even God tells you, I suffer with you, but you behold me not. That is how he is involved with you, first person. And when you recognize he's involved with you, first person, believe me, it'll be no effort at all to turn to him, and he'll turn to you. He has already agreed to do so. So on his side of the equation, it's already a done deal, isn't it?
It is. It is. And that's what we need to operate from, the done deal, or living from the end. You know, I was talking to somebody recently, and they said, well, what is it to live in the end? I said, you live as though, feel as though, act as though the thing that you desired is already currently your reality.
Yes, that's it. But also, your reality is if you're thinking of problems and negativity in any form, you're bringing that also into your world. Because, like I said, it's all on automatic. What you're thinking feelingly about is being produced in your world of experiencing. It's that simple. And all the holy places they're talking about, where could be holier than where you are if God is in you? If Jesus is in you? Is that not what Paul said? Do you not realize that Jesus is in you? I mean, come on. They're with you, and they're telling you that they're suffering with you because you're the one doing the choosing, and if you're unhappy, well, then they're probably unhappy with it too. But you're given, not waiting for it, you're given. Choose this day, and it's always this day. You'll have a new chance every day to change your mind, change your world. Isn't that so?
It is. I often like to say that you have a new chance every day to rewrite the script.
Yep. Exactly what they're doing, or they're not doing. The secret of life is all things in moderation. See, that what is all the addictions? They're this overuse, right?
Yes.
So just cut down on the use of thinking on things negative. You know, running off scenarios in your mind of things that happened to you in the past that you didn't like or didn't enjoy at all. Why run them over in your mind and bring you all of that negative back to you? Because then it's going to cause you to think something else negative. And you can go on and on and on. And then after a while, you just throw your hands in the air, total confusion. But you started the confusion. You fed the confusion. You could have changed your mind and changed your world. Try it. Don't try it, do it, right?
Absolutely. You know, you spoke of all things in moderation, so I want to touch on that briefly. You know, far too often we tend to overindulge in everything. And what you'll discover when you begin to back up a little bit and start practicing discipline, practicing moderation, it's going to flow through every area of your life, and especially your thinking.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. One woman was saying, well, yes, because I gave her sister some information, as we're doing right now to everybody who's listening. And she said, well, yes, but you see, I didn't have what she had. And I said, well, what difference does that make? He goes, well, that is different. And I said, well, no, it's not. You know, we're told very plainly that by his stripes, Jesus, by his stripes, we are healed. And as I understand it from Scripture, he's already received his stripes. So your being healed is accepting the healing that he has given you through trials he went through. It's always up to you. I will or I won't. It's that simple. You have to decide for yourself. And you can. You can do so. Just relax. Let go of what's going on with outside for a little while. really, really think about sitting in a silence. I'm sure I could tell you this in other different ways, but simply just go sit in a silence and be still, and you will know that you're God with you always. He's always with you, never leave you, never forsake you, never. Well, what are you waiting for? That's my only question. What are you waiting for? So, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you're speaking about never, and if we grasp that, we will often say, well, that means forever. That's eternity, whatever we want to call that. But in saying that, if we begin to embrace our oneness with God, we're going to look at the world from new eyes.
Everything changes. You can't really believe the changes that are going to take place in you. And because that's where you do your work, in you. See, you're told that you can change your mind and change your world. What would you be changing in mind but you're thinking feelingly? That's all you're changing. You're changing what you're feeling thinkingly. And if you'll do so, you'll have so, because you're not being denied anything. What you're told is that the choice that you have to choose from is whatsoever. Now, if you can't pick something better than what you're already experiencing, well, yeah, then you're kind of stuck. But if you can actually choose, and you're only doing this in mind, understand. You're thinking feelingly about this idea that you have better, you have more, and you do, but you have to claim it. And even if you had an inheritance, you'd still have to go claim it. And that's what you have to do. You have to claim your inheritance because you are a child of God, right?
That's absolutely correct. I was thinking about, as you were speaking about claiming it, and I think that you also were talking about claiming it by way of what you're thinking feelingly. And I inquired with someone the other day. I said, what is fear? And they gave a couple of answers and so forth. And I ultimately said, fear is nothing more than a feeling. It has no power. It can do nothing. It's just a feeling that we harbor.
Yeah. That's ego. That's all it is. You'd be surprised about how many things in your life are driven by ego. And the thing of it is, he doesn't have any say at all unless you pay attention to him. And he will take over if you allow him. But remember, you're given an out. You're told, blessed is the man that does not condemn himself for that which he has allowed. And when I say man, that's male, female, made he them man. As a matter of fact, consciousness is man. Subconsciousness is female. And what you do is, you woo subconscious mind into accepting. But you can't force anything. If you are in a mind of forcing something, forget it. Come back later. Call again. But you're in charge if you take charge. It's that simple. You have to take charge of your own thinking and feeling. Why am I thinking this? Is this leading me where I want to go? No? Well, then drop it and think on something that is leading you where you want to go. It's really that simple, isn't it?
It is that simple. You said something. You said that we woo subconscious mind. How do we woo subconscious mind?
Very simple. Just think of it as the two of you and God enjoying life. That's all. That's how you woo them. That's how you woo a new state of consciousness. And look, talking about a state of consciousness, everyone is in a state of consciousness, and everyone has the opportunity to change the state of consciousness they're in. So help is nearer than hands and feet. All you have to do is exercise it. Isn't that true?
It is so, and I love the answer as far as only thing you have to do is see yourself enjoying life, because that truly is the key to moving from one state to another. See yourself enjoying that new house, that new relationship, more money, whatever it is that you want to experience in the moment. Begin seeing yourself enjoying. People think that they want more money, but the truth of the matter is they don't want more money. They want what money can do for them.
Yeah, right. That's it. And, since given, choose this day. Just ask yourself, sit down and just think about what am I choosing this day? Am I doing the choosing for me this day? Or are the circumstances around me in my environment choosing what I will do and think this day? Because you might really find the essence of your problem right there, that others are choosing for you, and you're not choosing for yourself, which makes you feel uncomfortable at least, and lack of confidence. But if you charge, you'll immediately start feeling the confidence that you need to carry on, to open and quicken, and be in the end of whatever it is you're looking for. I think that's about says it, doesn't it?
It does, and I love that you brought up the point that sometimes you're choosing, but far too often what we experience is that other people are choosing for us, and because other people are choosing for us, or we don't feel that we're free to choose for ourselves, then we enter into all of these states of depression, anxiety, and everything else. And it's simply because we don't feel that we are choosing for ourselves, but it's given to us to choose for ourselves.
That's it. That's what it is. If you sat down to a dinner and they brought you a big plate of something you didn't like, then you'd order something else. But with ideas from others, many times you don't like the idea, but you still fumble with it long enough to actually set up a mindset, and the mindsets operate automatically. So you want to watch what it is you're allowing yourself to accept, because that's setting up a mindset. And like I said, a mindset operates automatically. It doesn't even inform you of anything. It just happens. So then you're out of control. But you can take control if you'll pay attention to what you're saying to yourself, suggesting to yourself. Then you will know what to expect. And what you expect is what you get. That's the story, isn't it?
It is the story. I think a lot of times we talked about the others choosing for us. I think that one of the things, and Napoleon Hill said it in Think and Grow Rich, the fear of other people's opinion has kept most of us stagnated.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You can tell. I mean, you can just watch people having a conversation. You can tell what the conversation is by just watching their expressions. Not detailed, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So you have to understand you're on all the time. You see, there is no time when you're in secret, because you have company with you. I am with you always. I will never leave you. So God knows what you have need of even before you ask, because when you thought about it, he heard it, right?
Absolutely. When you said that you have company with you, I kind of smiled because, often we'll look to the right and we'll look to the left, and we'll say the coast is clear, and we think that no one sees it, but we fail to look within.
Yeah, that's it. Well, actually, they're not failing to look within. They're failing to believe there's anything to look for.
Yeah, true.
If you knew there was a gold buried somewhere right in a vicinity, you'd be out there digging up the whole damn yard, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. And the neighbor's yard.
Yeah, right. But so the thing of it is that do you believe God's promises? See, because that's what it's all about. Do you believe God's promises? He made you promises. And if he made you a promise, then he's already said yes to that promise, right?
Absolutely.
So you see, you have to stand up and claim. You're told to stand and see the victory. So if you've asked, that's all you need to do. Stand and see the victory now because you've asked. And who have you asked? You've asked God. Actually, you've asked subconscious mind, which is the female side of consciousness. And like I said, it's a wooing, it's not a demanding. And it's the same, well, actually, maybe it's not the same with your wife, but you might not have as much say there. But at the same time, look, if you can just be light about it, don't be so heavy on yourself. Give yourself a little space. And that's what sitting in the silence does. It gives you space. Because once you're alone in the silence, you think that, well, now nobody knows what I'm doing or anything, and do they even care? So that's the perfect place to be. Contemplate and meditate on a better life. And that's all you're looking for, is a better life. And if you can feel a better life in your mind, in imagination, you can have it. Because it says, seek and you shall find. That's the seeking. Feeling after it in the mind of imagination. And as you feel after, you'll gain. And as you gain, you'll gain more because you expect more. And it's what you expect is what you get. And that's true of all praying. When you go to pray, if you're not expecting to receive, just stay home. I mean, why go to church and get more of what you didn't want in the first place? Because that's what you'll do if you go there not expecting to be answered. You're expecting to expand on what you're there to get rid of. Does that make sense?
It does, and you said for those who go for an answer, but they don't expect that they're going to get the answer, the truth of the matter is, as we've said in the past, they've actually received the answer. It was the answer of their expectations. And again, they come back and they're boastful and they say, well, I told you this stuff doesn't work. Yeah, you're right, for you.
That's it. But there's millions out there enjoying life just because they asked for it. Yeah. And someone says, well, how did you get this? I just asked for it. I didn't really study anything. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even really a reader of the Bible because it was so confusing, all the begots and the begots and the begots, and, after a while you just close the book. Because, you see, you can't catch the magic that's there unless you have an idea of what you're looking for. Now, if you're looking for answers, the answers are there. They're very plain, and they're very short answers, but they're positive, and you can use them because you're using the power. So the suggestions are yours. What are you suggesting to yourself? Because that's what you're going to be experiencing. So suggest better than the best, wouldn't you say?
I would say, you were talking about how you weren't even a student of the Bible. And I was just thinking about somebody within our group, and they said, those daggone Christians, I don't even like the Christian religion because, those Christians and, how they portray it. That's the problem. But sometimes those are the best candidates for a father. And I say that because he or she is not bound by all the indoctrinations that many of us who grew up in church are bound by.
Yeah, that's true. All the ceremonies, doctrines, and creeds. And that doesn't mean anything if you're not focused. If you can't focus on what you want to think feelingly about, well then, yeah, you do have a problem. But if you'll do so for a little while, you'll find that it gets easier and easier and easier. You're forming a discipline, and that's what is needed, is a discipline to actually just, if you can sit in the silence for 5 minutes, I mean, truly for 5 minutes without thinking of anything but just something that you were focused on for 5 minutes, believe me, that's a victory. That is a big, wouldn't you say so?
I would say so. I mean, 5 minutes, especially when we're not accustomed to being silent, is an eternity for that person who's sitting in the silence and focusing on what it is that he or she desires. I mean, truly, it is a victory.
Yes, yes. Well, you see, you want to make it a victory while it's in mind. You understand? Because that's the building blocks. That's the building of it, is having it in mind, seeing it. That's going to the end. You're actually doing and being and having what it is you desire. But you have to do it in mind. You have to become comfortable. You have to get natural feeling in being that person that you want to be. So you have to practice it. You have to do it over. If you were playing a part in a movie, you got a script to play it. Wouldn't you have to really study the script? Wouldn't you have to go over it and over it and over it before you got out in front of a camera? So you have to take charge of your life. And it is your life that you're operating, and you should be operating it better than you are, because you can be. Isn't that so?
It is so. You were talking about the actor on the stage and how they had to rehearse. When we tell people to live in the end, many people think it's just, I'll just think, a good feeling thought. But as Mr. Lindell just said a moment ago, you embody, you've clothed yourself in that new identity. You become it, and many people never get to the point of state. They get into thinking, they do affirmations, they do, visualization, but they never become the individual that they're desiring to be.
A perfect example of that is the president of Ukraine. He was a comedian, a performer. But when the job came up that he's got, he went for it wholeheartedly. And that's the nation's number one hero, I'm sure. But you see, you have the same ability to do exactly that, to stand up for yourself. Because you are your country, you are your business, and the question is, are you minding your business, or are you taking the suggestion of the world around you and being conditioned to their idea of living your life? And that's what I mean. They're trying to live your life. Look, you're being advertised to every minute of the day. If you're driving or walking around your own house, everything has a name on it and stands out. And so you're being advertised all the time. And that's what it is that you have to manage in your life, letting your mind drift into certain ideas and things that are happening on the without. Because the importance is all within, as within, so without. Isn't that it?
It is that's absolute. I mean, even the example was a prime and wonderful example. Who could have imagined? I mean, when you're looking at your life and you look at where you're at the moment and you think about where you want to be. For example, a comedian. There's nowhere in the world that as he or she's doing what it is that they do as a comedian can imagine at the moment that one day I want to be president of a country. Who does that? Nobody. But once you enter into the state, any state, all things become possible.
That's it. That's it. As you think you are. Just keep that in mind. And if you keep that in mind, you'll remember it more often, and more often is better. We're in charge of our lives. We are. But are you thinking in charge of your life? That's the difference that makes the difference, isn't it?
You know what? And I want to touch on that because that's so paramount. I talk to so many people, and I see them being so powerful. But it goes back to what you just said. You're in charge if you begin thinking and acting and living from a person who's in charge.
Well, the thing of it is you have to start. I mean, nothing happens until you start it, right?
Absolutely.
So what are you starting? What is your intention? I mean, do you intend to just stay where you're at the rest of your life, or do you want to expand, or do you want to shrink? You can do either or all at different times. But understand, there's nothing transforming in death. So when you die, your attitudes, assumptions, and moods go with you. You get a new body, but you still maintain your mindsets. And so you're really no better off than when you left. But if you'll do it now, since you're aware that there is something for you to do, and you do understand that you have to do it, and that is you have to regulate your own mind. You have to direct your own mind. Direct what you're thinking and feeling, and you'll be directing your life for the rest of your life if you'll do so. Isn't that so?
It is so. I was thinking as you were talking about molding your mind now before you make the transition, and I was thinking about a granddaughter, and when she was a really small baby, you could see the seriousness in her even as an infant, and you still see the same seriousness even as she's become, a little girl. So it's funny that we say that, but we do carry our attitudes, our dispositions, our moods with us.
If you're still not of spirit mind, well, then you just take the mind with you that you got now. But you are spirit. That can't change, and that won't change, and God won't change it either, because you're saved by His grace, not by anything you've done, but by His grace. And He tells you, you're saved by grace. That's how you get saved. It's nothing that you can do. You can be hell on earth if you want, or you can be heaven on earth if you want. But that's the idea, is making a choice and sticking with the choice and staying on board with the choice that you make, because it's so easy to get distracted, isn't it?
It is. So as we're winding down, what would you say to the listener in closing about power?
Well, even there, seeing is believing, we were told as children, but Scripture has had it for thousands of years that believing is seeing, is receiving. And you're told that you receive not because you ask not, or that you're asking amiss. And if you're living what you don't want to be living, then you're asking amiss. Change it, right?
Absolutely.
So it's been an hour already? God.
Yes. So we'll wind this down, and then I'll touch bases with you. Sir, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, it has. It always is. Thank you very much, and I hope everybody got something out of this.
Me too, and I think so. I really think so. We'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
People just want to know what you did to be successful.
The 4 CDs that I have out there, it's all there. If you took any one of the CDs and actually followed through on what you understood there, you could change your mind, change your world. All you have to do is just listen to the CDs. It's always reiteration and reiteration.
I want to go back to the 4 CD set. Go to metaphysicalarttheater.com. We can only mail in the U.S. right now, but for those who are outside the U.S., we can send you a digital bundle with everything, so you'll get the enjoyment without waiting for it in the mail. Matter of fact, those who are in the U.S., if you would rather have the digital copies, we can do that as well. metaphysicalarttheater.com.